was a situation that happened on OffKai recently where somebody went into this, and sabotaged the face connect do, and I'm not really sure what went on. I was looking into the case yesterday, but I was kind of a little confused with everything that went on and what was presented in front of me, so I didn't really want to cover it for then. But we have Rev right now that is going through all of the feed of what went on, and I'm very curious to see how that goes. But before we get into that video, make sure you like this video itself if you're watching this on YouTube, and also sub to the channel if you enjoy these kind of videos. Also, if you're interested in joining chat over there, that is yapping, you can always come by twitch.tv/Adley to come by and say hi, but I appreciate it. Now let's get into the video.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to be talking about the drama surrounding OffKai Expo 2024. So in the weeks that have led up to this event, there was a lot of drama involving blacklisting of VTubers who were scheduled to be guests at this event.
There was a lot of stupid drama regarding blacklisting somebody through this event, and I don't really understand. It was a lot of people showing up to it, but I don't know, like, it had a lot of backlog of awful drama going on.
Has closed as of today. There's another round of controversies involving allegations that some of the VTubers and related events there were sabotaged by some of the volunteers who had a personal disliking of these content creators.
Okay.
Now, before we get into that, let's remind ourselves how we got here. So a lot of the initial drama.
So the Lakeisha is the one that had like a backlog of opinions, and somebody tried to completely, they invited her, and then basically 1 month before they kind of blacklisted her and didn't want her there again. And it was a very weird situation going on.
The VTuber Kirsha, who originally was set to be a guest at OffKai this year. However, in this stream from about a month ago, she announced that she was blacklisted as a guest, and in conversations with the director of OffKai, it was revealed what all this came from. Basically, she was blacklisted as a guest, and it all boiled down to 7 tweets that the volunteers brought forward that they claim made them uncomfortable and that they would have to walk away from the event.
People still take OffKai serious off that.
And these
made him seem very less professional.
Shared by Kirsha because, well, they're Weenie Hut Jr. levels of offensive, okay? They're really not bad at all.
No.
And here's an example of one of those tweets. It is a joke she made a year ago where she changed her pronouns on Discord to Burger Queen. Yes, this warranted her removal as a guest. And as you can see, the level of really effort they put into this is ridiculous. So here's the screenshot from the volunteers. And as you can see, the word pronoun is highlighted, which means that these volunteers were keyword searching on her account to find tweets that they could label offensive. Now, seeing this all happen, seeing her get blacklisted, me and my wife, Darling Straub, who were slated as guests for OffKai through a third party, we said this is ridiculous. We're going to walk unless she is reinstated as a guest. And of course, that didn't happen. But eventually, I would cover all this stuff in a video from a few weeks ago. If you want the full background leading up until this video, you can check out this one right here. I'll put it in the description. But here we are on June 3rd, which marks the end of this year's OffKai Expo. And over the weekend, a lot of people shared their experience.
It does seem targeted. It seemed that some volunteer or somebody that working on OffKai was targeting them and trying to find things that they disagreed with they could use as bait to push them away. It seemed very odd, and whenever I covered that specific scenario, whenever I looked at it, it looked very stupid. It looked really, really dumb. So you can look into it. I have a video on it. There's many people that covered it. But just generally, the reasoning were very dumb.
This VTuber convention, and of course, a lot of people had a very good time, but there was also some controversy that we need to talk about now. And this controversy primarily involves the VTuber agency FaZe Connect, which, by the way, a lot of people have a great deal of respect for this VTuber agency, not just their talents, but their management as well. And a lot of
their management had to deal with the most unique type of VTubers ever. But big props to their management.
They're them a great example of what a VTuber
They're hiring new management, by the way.
All about. Now, what's going on with FaZe Connect? Well, they were a feature of this OffKai Expo 2024, and obviously because of the support they have, they drew in a lot of attendees and a lot of people who wanted to see them at this convention. On top of that, they financially supported a lot of people at this convention because in April, FaZe Connect decided to cover the costs of the booth and tables for all vendors in the hall of this convention.
That is big.
Which is a very, generous thing to do.
Very
by the way.
generous thing to do,
At
yeah.
conventions like this struggle to break even because of these booth and table costs. So this was a very generous thing for FaZe Connect to do.
Big
now,
W
at the
for
convention
FaZe
itself, a lot of FaZe Connect fans had a great time. That's to be expected. They have some very funny fans. Like, they enjoyed themselves at this convention. And also
that video,
the
Bao,
in-person
I don't know,
concerts
Bao
and
is crazy.
events seemingly went very well. And a lot of people enjoy the in-person events. However, there were some issues with the broadcast of these events. This was something that OffKai had to directly address on Twitter on the 1st, saying this: "We had some internal miscommunications regarding the streaming of FaZe Connect's panel, resulting in an unintended broadcast and poor stream experience. As always, we appreciate our friends at FaZe." Now, you can see the top replies to this tweet. A lot of people were having some issue with this. At the very minimum, they were raising their eyebrows at this situation, but they were also trying to say, like, how do you treat FaZe Connect like this? How'd you let this go so
Like, they are the one nearly funding the show. You should have put everything in your power to make sure they were having their show ready and everything was going well. Like, this is awful.
poorly?
Also, why, like, you had this treatment and handling it like this. What would you expect for future scenarios? I don't think many people will give this sort of support in any regard if this is how you treat the one sponsoring the event. This is bad. This is bad.
After how much support they have provided for this convention,
Also lose vendors, yeah.
People are pointing out some potential bad actors among the staff, which we'll get into in just a second.
Ooh.
Now, here is basically a too long didn't read version of events here, where the stream goes off and there was a lot of issues. It was very janky. There was technical issues, but there was also random spamming of ads interrupting various events and songs
ads
and what have you. It was a mess for a lot of different reasons in terms of the broadcast itself. And also on top of that, it was revealed through some of the activities of volunteers during this broadcast that there are people, identifiable volunteers, that have open dislikings of some FaZe Connect members and Kirsha as well, which also was relevant in a lot of 4chan posts that people were making, claiming to be OffKai volunteers, where they claimed that there was a movement among some of the volunteers to sabotage the events of VTubers that they didn't like. And of course, that's presumably some FaZe Connect members.
I think you should just get them the hell out. Like, how does this represent the people handling OffKai if they have those volunteers there? Like, if some random 4chaner can figure this out, then you should be able to figure it out. Like, you're leaving the display. You should just get them out. Get them out as quick as possible.
A lot of people started digging into some of the volunteers. Now, it's hard to identify some of these volunteers, but the one that we found looks very suspicious. And you can see right here, we have some tweets and messages from an official OffKai Twitch mod. Let's see what's being shared here. So there's a lot of talk from recent months talking about how neo-Nazis and grifters in the VTubing scene should be deplatformed. And you can see some references with context will reveal a very specific set of targets that they are talking about. But here is this individual, this mod named Gustavo that we just showed his previous tweets. So there were a lot of people in the chat of that broadcast for FaZe Connect talking about the issues, the technical issues, the spamming of ads, what have you. And you can see Gustavo down here saying that all of these issues going on are FaZe's decision, not ours. So right here, this individual for the OffKai mod staff is blaming FaZe Connect for whatever happened, saying it's their...
So, by the way, what channel is that owns, whoever owns this channel, wherever this was streamed, they can actually see it in their logs to see who cast ads. So they can actually double check to see who was posting all of the ads.
Choice, which, by the way, FaZe Connect is not new to the block. I would trust that they would know how to run events like this without ridiculous levels of errors that seem like intentional sabotage because of how ridiculous they are. And also, remember this message, because this Gustavo individual will claim in further tweets that they were asleep during this broadcast, which
That's
is
crazy.
Obviously a lie, because you can see
I wonder
their comments
who,
right here.
maybe it's like a ghost.
Who is this Gustavo
that
individual? Well, let's look into their accounts. You can see this mention that we just showed a couple seconds ago, talking about this.
Gustavo, he didn't do anything.
The MF complaining about anti-white
Never
racism
mind.
is the Nazi with featured clips including actual racist jokes and admitting she's okay with slurs. Go F yourself. Awful lot of actual neo-Nazis in the...
And what do we call this chat? You call this an individual that should probably be at a mental asylum, using these buzzwords to show that they're angry because they don't even know what these things even are. They don't know what a Nazis, they don't know what any of this shit is. They just go wild on a tantrum because they feel like it.
Community, to be honest, should have never let them get as popular
Face Connect
as they
told them.
So seeing all this,
an actual, by the way,
there's some VTubers that are literal Nazis and racists and what have you. And based on the context here and the timing of this tweet, February 22nd, it is very obvious who they are talking about. So go back to February 20th, 2 days prior. This was when the Uki Violetta drama started, where this Niji Sanji Ian Liver would make disparaging remarks about white and straight people. And one of the people who would respond on the same day would be who else but Kirsha, who would share a 5.5-minute long compilation of Uki Violetta disparaging white people and straight people and making very offensive remarks about the color of their skin and their sexual preferences. And in response,
so like, dude, you yapping, but like, I mean, I'm a yap a little bit more. Fun supercut for every time Uki Violetta was weird about the white people. This pattern definitely makes it feel like not so subtle racism. I doubt he makes these kind of jokes about other races. I doubt he makes these kind of jokes about other races. I mean, like if Yuki can be blatant racist in front of a camera, in front of thousands of people, and generally how I view racists, I view them as morons. So if you're a racist toward one race, why wouldn't you be racist toward another race? And also, he's on camera. What do you think this guy says off stream? Like, I bet he pops off stream.
Some people in the coming day or two would share clips of Kirsha making jokes about other people's races, where she would respond by saying those were just jokes, unlike Uki Violetta, who is making these statements with no punchline. They're just open hatred of other races simply because of the color of their skin. And with the context, it seems very clear that this OffKai staff here was talking about Kirsha and also not only claiming she's a Nazi and racist, but also basically saying she should be deplatformed. And lo and behold, not much after that,
people out there that probably love this content
as a guest from OffKai. Now, there's another VTuber who's definitely directly mentioned by this individual, this mod, and that is Pippa. She is a FaZe Connect member, and she is someone who's had many people try to cancel her for ridiculous reasons over the years. So, we also know that back in 2023, Pippa was a guest, and due to these conversations between Kirsha and the director of OffKai, we know that back in 2023, volunteers of that event tried to remove Pippa.
It's great.
And strangely, that time, they took the side of Pippa and the volunteers apparently walked. So we know this has been an issue with some of the volunteers in the past. And here is the mod once again directly naming another VTuber, this time being much more direct with Pippa in the situation. So here's some of Gustavo's tweets. So here is one tweet where he shows a picture of Pippa saying, "What a cute little rabbit girl. I wonder what her opinions on minorities are. Oh no." Obviously a very disparaging remark and directly referring to her and presumably trying to say she's a racist with absolutely no proof, by the way. But they also retweeted this post attacking Pippa, claiming that she's an anti-Semite for saying oy vey on stream.
What? Wait, what? Man, Twitter should not be free. This is insane. Wow.
But this one being much more clear. retweeting another post trying to attack
What does
Pippa,
oy vey even mean?
There's an industrial complex of VTubers forming that are grifting off Hogwarts legacy, and the quote-unquote harassment they're getting for it is coming from incel Nazis pretending to be trans. So this is sharing a tweet that not only is trying to claim that there was no Hogwarts legacy harassment campaign, but they're also trying to say that people like Pippa were appealing to incel Nazis. Now, this is absolutely ridiculous because, once again, it all comes back to Hogwarts legacy. It always comes back to Hogwarts legacy, and the amount of people who are trying to claim.
Bro, I think that we're gonna go 5 years in the future, and we're still gonna talk about this Hogwarts legacy situation. Like, this thing here, this thing will be marked down in gaming history for a long time.
Things about people like Pippa
and VTuber history because of this
was ridiculous, and this is just one of many posts trying to slander an attacker.
It's still the Hogwarts legacy thing. We never escape it. We never escape it.
Also trying to downplay the harassment, and also on top of that, even worse, here is Marina VT, who was an OffKai guest in 2023, who many people had some very valid concerns about when it came to her appearing at this event. She did not attend this year, but they not only support her tweet, again, as always, supporting the Hogwarts legacy harassment campaign, but this Gustavo individual shares the same thread of talk where they believe there was no harassment campaign, and also they believe that Pikami was never harassed, which is absolutely vile. And if you guys forgot, Pikami was brutally,
even I covered this shit, man. I remembered it. This was awful.
Harassed by a bunch of people on Twitter for simply suggesting the possibility that she might stream the Hogwarts legacy game. It was a ridiculous situation.
She gave up. She just like
that mod
out.
Making light of the situation.
Yeah.
Now, facing all this very valid criticism, how would this mod respond? Well, terribly.
I'm glad she rebranded Tenya and came back.
This. If you want to cry about me, maybe don't pick 1 where I complain about Nazis. Do you like them? 2 where I complain about unrelated people in my life. Reading comprehension doesn't seem to be very common.
By the way, they destroyed the meaning of Nazi in the stupid campaign against Hogwarts legacy that nobody takes it seriously anymore. They kind of ruined that. Whenever you use words like this repeatedly in these scenarios that are not related to what the word of the meaning or what the people were that were Nazis were, you know, like, you're watering down the word, you're muddying the water about it, and you turn the word's meaning and you make it less valuable. So that's the thing. That now it's like, before you would be like, oh my god, or you would react shocked to that word, but nowadays you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, whatever. Based
on the context,
because people are screaming it out loud about any scenario where people are objectively having an opinion about something.
Of everything we've shown you, it's very obvious they are talking very directly about multiple VTubers who were involved with OffKai at one point or another. And then here they say, also, if you really think I personally took down the stream, you overestimate what an average dingus 2 continents away can do.
Same with woke takes on the complete different meaning and there was intended to be. Yeah, nowadays you will see a game and it has a black character and people will be screaming woke. Well, you'll see a gay character in a game and people will scream woke. Like, what the? Everybody has forgotten the meaning of what woke is. They'll see anything and be like, woke. It's a woke game. I will not support this woke agenda.
While asleep.
What does Kek W mean?
I talked about this earlier.
Kek is from a game called World of Warcraft, and there are 2 factions in the game, and you couldn't like have conversation between each other. But whenever one faction said lol, the other faction would see Kek. So Kek means basically lol. That's what it is.
They claim that they were asleep during the broadcast, but we have screenshots of them openly responding to people. So how much do you trust this person's credibility when they are caught in 4K lying? And then down here they say, imagine throwing random fuel into the fire by lying just because you can. Legitimately tired of people like you with a middle...
Bro, now that is a fact, dude. I'm true. I agree. True. I've never heard any truer word. I'm true. I'm tired of this kind of shit too. I mean, damn right.
Towards all of their dissenters.
Get this out of there.
Of course, there's a lot of good points that are being raised about the situation. People compiling all these tweets made by this OffKai mod saying this: I find it ironic that OffKai Expo vetted out Kirsha for tweets, but never vetted their staff for the same issue. Some of these posts date back to February. So they should have
so they've been hating for months.
Member in the first place.
The Kirsha has been living rent-free in this man's mind for months. Can you believe that? And people think this is normal, by the way. Some people would say this is normal. I think this ain't normal at all. I think this guy needs a break. I think he needs to lay down for a long time, for a while, and get off the keyboard.
Just all around rude and problematic. And also legal mindset would do some digging and find something very interesting. So he says this: here's part of the OffKai Expo volunteer agreement. Interesting possible interpretation of the non-disparagement clause, which includes events at OffKai. Hope people kept their Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and Twitch clean. And of course, based on this language that you can find right here, everything that this mod was saying appears to be a violation of these terms that they signed on to, where they're not supposed to disparage any of the events or the talents, presumably as a secondary effect of that claim. And yeah, not a very good look. And of course, I wanted to share this with you guys as well. So Kirsha was blacklisted as a guest.
Some grass for a while. Good luck,
she would find a way to attend this event.
Enjoy.
With the help of her community, she was smuggled into the event. And she was gracious enough to invite me and my wife, Darling Straub, to join her.
Oh, that is so cute.
On this iPad stand and to do a meet and greet with several dozen people. We are quite literally propped up on a trash can in the back alley of OffKai. It was beautiful. I wouldn't have had it any other way. In fact, we were able to go in and actually see most of the grounds inside of OffKai. And we were able to meet, like I said, dozens of people, which was awesome. That's kind of the funny, good end of that whole situation. But let's go back to OffKai, okay? So this situation with FaZe Connect is a suspicious one, okay? It's not a very good look for them, and it's something that I believe
he does. He needs to go outside.
Address.
I mean, like outside, he needs to go outside. He need to lay down. Maybe he needs to seek help. I don't know. Like, this is crazy behavior.
More than they already did with that previous.
Like, can you try to imagine yourself? You are mad, furious about one individual for months and months, half a year. And that individual doesn't even know you exist. They don't know you exist. They don't know who you are. But you're really mad at them. Why? No reason. Now, think to yourself, does this sound like normal behavior? Does this sound like something you've ever experienced? Because I just want to say, if you've experienced this, if you've experienced this in your life, I do highly suggest you seek professional help, because that is not normal and it's not good for you. You should not be mad at somebody random you've never known in your entire life for a half of a year for no reason, and constantly thinking about them, constantly being mad about them, constantly talking about them. You're obsessed at that point. This is just weird.
Tweet from the first, and at the very least, even if all of this stuff, all these conspiracy theories about sabotage and what have you, let's say they're all just coincidences, still, the broadcast went very poorly, and I think FaZe Connect deserved a lot better than that.
They
Not
did,
just because of how much they raised attention for OffKai generally, but also the financial support they provided for all these artists. And the hype really that they brought to
By the way, OffKai was so weird, for instance, for throwing Vidal and filling out while they streamed and interact with their community. Don't they know that that's a huge ad for the convention? They did that? That's stupid.
This year. They deserve really better than that with their broadcast. And also, they didn't deserve some of these mods making disparaging remarks like they did. And I think it is very reasonable, based on what we've seen, the circumstances and the circumstantial evidence, that there is a legitimate reason to believe that some of the volunteers there had an open hatred of some of the FaZe Connect members, as well as people like Kirsha, and it's reasonable to believe that maybe they had some sort of a hand to play in these series of events. I think that is a reasonable thing to assume based on the context of everything. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I am sure there's going to be more coming out about this event in the coming days. So we will stay tuned if there's any relevant updates.
What I saw was gibberish. Thank you so much.
That's going to do it. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about
thank you for explaining this well. Thank you. Great fucking video. Okay, so in the end of the day, we had somebody, a lunatic, just going and getting in as a volunteer and basically spam the ads and try to kick out the other like specific VTubers because of their jokes or opinions, which should not have anything to do with this because it's a professional event and they coming in, showing in is an ad. It's an ad where you want these big VTubers to be there because else you would not have a business. These anime cons are doing so well because of VTubers. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. Make sure you like this video to help the algorithm spread it around, and also sub to the channel. If you want to join chat over there and hang out and say hi, feel free to come by my Twitch on twitch.tv/Attillee. There's a link in the description. I appreciate y'all so much for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.